Welcome back. The library is continuing their Ode the Horror series through the end of October, and author Marc Hartzman joins me now. Marc, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So for people that may not be familiar with you or your work, tell me a little bit about your journey being a writer and an author.
Well, I love weird history.
Okay.
All my books are kind of, that's the central theme, I think, is some of the weird pages of history. So my newest book is called We Are Not Alone, which is all about the history of UFOs and aliens. My previous book, Chasing Ghosts, is about paranormal history, spiritualism, ghosts. Do they exist? Do they not exist? How can we find evidence of them? So just filled with kind of things that we've all sort of wondered about really for all of time in some ways.
Yeah, very good. Fiction, nonfiction, how does this work?
Nonfiction.
Okay.
All real stories, whether or not they truly happen. You know, who knows, were they really aliens? Not to say, but these were the stories that people have and things they reported.
Okay, I absolutely love it. Sorry, I want to dive into the books a little bit more. So let's start with this one. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, so We Are Not Alone, just launched last week. So it covers the history of UFOs and aliens, kind of starts mostly in the early 1940s.
Okay.
By the late 40s, there was really a huge flurry of UFO sightings all across the country, thousands and thousands. The Air Force was investigating them for more than 2 decades with Project Blue Book. And of course, it's come up much more recently again with the UAPs that the Navy pilots have been seeing. So it's really been out there in the public consciousness a lot more lately. So it dives into all that, looks into the lore and the history and what might be, what might not be.
Yeah.
Describes it.
Which I think is fascinating because I do think there's a lot of people out there that speculate about whether they're real or not, are they here or not, what's up with the UFOs. And so I think having books like this, someone that's willing to do the research like you is great. It's very helpful. It's a good resource.
Yeah.
Now tell me about the other one you brought in.
Yeah, so Chasing Ghosts gets into, again, a lot of paranormal history. So a huge section on spiritualism, which was Victorian era when mediums believed that they could talk to the dead. And you had millions of people in this country. That was an actual religion with spiritualism. They truly believe that we don't die and we can communicate with the dead. So it gets into like the mediums and how they were doing this, the different kinds of manifestations that they could create in seances. It's a fascinating history. The things that these mediums could do is really extraordinary. So it describes what they were doing in a lot of ways that they were debunked and in some cases were not debunked, which leaves you wondering a little bit.
Sure.
Gets into haunted places, and then also how technology has been used to either try to find evidence of ghosts or explain some paranormal experiences as well, but not all.
Okay, interesting. I have a question on the spiritualism piece of it because we know that mediums have kind of become this form of, pop culture today as well. We have some that have really been in the media, been on TV. So do you think that the mediums today are still relevant or similar to the ones that you researched on from back in this older period?
I think in the older period, there was a much stronger widespread belief in the medium's powers than I think there is today. I think they have their followings. Of course, that's why they're still popular. Sure. But I think that back then there was a much stronger belief. This was really a time of wonder when all kinds of new technologies were coming out. We had, the telephone was like magical, right? Like voices could travel. Radio, same kind of thing. At the same time, people thought we could communicate with intelligent Martians. So a lot of possibilities were out there. So thinking that you could communicate with the dead wasn't all that far-fetched back then.
It wasn't that crazy to some people.
Yeah, so I think it was a little bit more unique at that time.
Yeah, lots of interesting things happening here. And what's so cool about this is in this series, Oh, the Horror with the Library, you authors are actually doing events at the library, and yours is tonight. So tell people what they can expect from that.
Well, I'll be talking about both of these books. I'll be leading with Chasing Ghosts. Obviously, Halloween Ghosts is a little bit more in theme, but alien abductions and all kinds of experiences that can be a little bit scary too. So I'll be talking about both books, just kind of going through a little bit of history of both. I'll read a few of the stories from Chasing Ghosts along the way, because I interviewed lots of people for both books. And along the way with Chasing Ghosts, people would tell me their personal experiences and ghost stories, which are pretty unique. So I'm just going to read a few of those again, since it's Halloween. It feels right to do a few ghost stories. And then cover a lot of the history as well. Yeah,
and will there be like a Q&A? Do people have the ability to talk with you? How does that work?
Absolutely. I'll have a Q&A. People can ask questions whenever they want, and I'll be signing books.
Okay, very good. If people want to keep up with you and what's going on, how can they find you?
They can find me at markhartzmanbooks.com.
Okay.
Also on Instagram, I'm just at Marc Hartzman, and on Twitter, at Marc Hartzman as well, and it's Marc with a C. You'll find me pretty easily.
Okay, very good. And your event tonight with the library, what time does it start?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. All right. Marc, thank you so much for being here and sharing your work. It's really, really quite fascinating.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, coming up, we've got a pup